Hey, what is going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and man, do you got any fingernails left, or do you have any beer in the fridge after that game? Because whatever your vice is, man, you if you're like me, you were hitting it hard because man, another game just simply coming down to the last seconds. But hey, at least we got a win this time, beating the Steelers 16-10, albeit an ugly win. But before I get into my top takeaways from that 16-10 win over the Steelers, I want to hear yours. Drop yours in the comments below. Let's jump right in because your Miami Dolphins are now 4-3, thanks in large part to the defense. And I want to talk about the second half defense as well. No points allowed in the second half. Jevon Holland's interception, which should have sealed it. Noah Igbinoghene's interception, which did seal it. But this wasn't just your typical Miami Dolphins defense either. I mean, Brandon Jones gets hurt. God, pray to God that he's okay. We cannot have another injury in the secondary, but he gets hurt, which means Clayton Fedulum comes into the game, who did have a nice play on a run stop, had that tip pass on that play to Freiermuth, made some plays, but Verone McKinley gets in there. Eric Rowe gets more snaps than he's usually used to getting. They're hardly even throwing the ball at Xavien Howard for a game where we scored on the first three possessions offensively, and we will get into that offense on the next takeaway, actually. But for this game to fall on the shoulders of the defense and for them to show up like that, getting three interceptions, holding Najee Harris to under 4 yards per carry. They only had 2 sacks, but if you were watching Jalen Phillips, man, he was working. He was working like a dog. He was dog tired at the end of the game as well. He was getting after it. But the MVP of that game, Josh Boyer, Miami Dolphins defense, getting the turnovers when you needed it. Second half defense. But I said we were going to talk about the offense. I feel bad even writing this. Rusty Tagovailoa. Whew. All right, so 3 possessions to start the game, 3 scores, but we talked about it on the Keys to Victory video earlier in the week. We need touchdowns. Can't settle for field goals. Cannot let a team like Pittsburgh hang around. And man, that is exactly what ended up happening. You have all that happen. You have 4 essentially dropped interceptions, which I know I put Rusty Tagovailoa. I almost did that more so for comedic purposes than anything. I don't think all of those dropped interceptions were on Tua, by the way. No, he didn't play good. Yes, you can tell even in his post-game speech on the broadcast, he wants to play better. He was not happy with that performance. But on those dropped interceptions, Tyreek, for some reason, wasn't running full speed on a couple of those plays. On the one over the middle to Gesicki, I think Tua thought he was going to turn inside a little bit, kind of give him a little bit of a target. Never did. That one almost gets intercepted as well. But regardless, we are not going to get that lucky again. So hopefully all of that rust got knocked off on Sunday Night Football because just in general offensively in the second half there, we were throwing short of the sticks so damn much on third down, which was really strange to me because if you remember how good we were on third down, those first like 2 to 3 games that Tua was starting with, we were one of the best teams on third down and especially on third and long. It was just another play call. Tonight was different. We were a lot more conservative. We were throwing short of the sticks and things just weren't working out for us as well. But man, here's the other thing that pisses you off. Jevon Holland gets that interception. You think it's game over. We get to 3rd and 3 near midfield. And Tua underthrows Tyreek, and I don't even think he saw that defender that nearly got the interception. That one, in my opinion, was on Tua there, but fairly underwhelming offensive performance after a first drive that looked like we were going to outright run away with things. So, like I said, hopefully all that rust got knocked off. But man, that was a little rough to watch. Like I said, if you're a beer drinker, you probably don't have any left at this point in time. That was a hard one to watch. I got one more takeaway that I want to talk about, and it's honestly my first time questioning Mike McDaniel, and not the hiring, not the long-term thing. It just in today's game, because I have been on board with nearly everything Mike McDaniel has done as the Miami Dolphins head coach. But tonight, definitely had a couple of questions on some calls. The time management at the end of the first half, and I've liked what he's done with time management so far. He had some really good examples in that Ravens game earlier in the year, but tonight was completely different. All right, end of the first half, you've got 2 timeouts. Tua slides. They don't use a timeout, so you're rushing up to the line of scrimmage to get the ball snap. What happens? You have some panic. Liam Eichenberg false starts. Then you are forced to take a timeout just to avoid the 10-second runoff. At that point, you essentially eliminate going for the touchdown in general. You are playing for the field goal at that point in time, which, yes, I'm glad they got the field goal. It ended up being a very important field goal, but just another example of needing to settle for a field goal in that point. But then, and this is possibly the worst one of the night, and I think you probably already know where I'm going with this. The first drive of the third quarter. Tua on that drive has completions of 25, 18, and 5 yards. Then they find themselves with 3rd and 3 at the 13-yard line. 3rd and 2 at the 13-yard line. You run the ball with Chase Edmonds. When Tua is on a roll that drive, you lose a yard. So now you're looking at 4th and 3. You damn near run the same play and you get stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Now, here's the thing. I don't mind the idea of going for it there, but throw the ball at least one of those downs, especially when Tua had it going on that drive. We've seen it in the past with Tua as well. When he gets clicking on drives, there's no stopping him. Look at the first drive of the game. He was kind of having another drive like that, and you took the ball out of his hands and you gave it to Chase Edmonds, of all people. So here's the deal. I mean, the scoring on that, and what I wanted to go with this was, I don't want to settle for another field goal. That's kind of where it was in that. But to run the ball on back-to-back plays with that ball carrier and Chase Edmonds, when a field goal, and here I am kind of contradicting myself, a field goal at that point in time makes it a 2-score game. So it's a little bit more of game situation, knowing how the Steelers have been struggling on offense and making that a 2-score game when you can live with that decision. But if you're going to go for it, you got to pass the ball at least one of the times. So that is what I have for that particular takeaway right there. But I'm going to wrap it up right there for the night. As you can see, I'm even already losing my voice on this one. But let's hear from you. Drop your top takeaways in the comments because, hey, at the end of the day, we got the win. We're 4 and 3. We got the Lions and the Bears on deck. Dolphins fans, it could be worse. But like I said, that is my time for tonight. Have yourselves a good one, Miami Dolphins fans. And until next time, fins up.